you on one of the spookiest days of the year. No, it's not Halloween. It's a little less expensive and substantially less good if you're talking about cinematic quality. We are, of course, talking about Friday the 13th. This year marks the 45th anniversary of the iconic horror franchise that all began with Sean S. Cunningham's 1980 film, Friday the 13th, so we figured we'd take a moment here, take a look at the top 5 Friday films from over the years. Spoiler alert, the first film, not included here, not featured, not a good movie. At number 5, we have the 2003 Monster Mash to end all Monster Mashes. That is, of course, Ronnie Hughes' Freddy vs. Jason. Now, I hear you out there on the other side of the screen. I hear what you're saying. But Will, Freddy vs. Jason is a bad movie.
Freddy vs. Jason.
Place your bets.
And to that I would say, you're clearly only thinking of the first hour and 10 minutes of this hour-and-a-half long film. Because if you have any recollection of the final 20 minutes of Freddy vs. Jason, you would shut the fuck up. Because the last 20 minutes of Freddy vs. Jason see director Ronnie Yu going all in on delivering a no-holds-barred monster mashup that happens to star Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger. They go at it. Hands go through chests. People are chopping limbs off. Freddy gets his head chopped off. They fall into the water. There's explosions. It's literally Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein for the modern age.
Won't you die?
I think if you enjoy these movies, it's impossible to not feel like a kid in a candy store by the time it gets to the third act of Freddy vs. Jason. And it's so good that it convinces me the whole movie is good every single time I watch it. And then I inevitably come back around, spend the first hour of the movie going, dear Lord, why did I like this movie? And then it gets to the end and my mind is wiped all over again. It's Stockholm Syndrome to the nth degree, but Freddy vs. Jason is number 5 on the list, baby. Number 4 on the list, a controversial choice. Many of you are not going to like that this is on the list. And Rob Hedden's Jason Takes Manhattan from 1989 is number 4 on the list, folks. Now, again, no one likes this movie. Absolutely no one likes this movie. Everyone hates that it's called Jason Takes Manhattan. He doesn't get to New York until the final 10 minutes. There's that one shot of him in Times Square everyone loves. Everyone's turned into a gif a million times over. But people don't like the stuff with him on the boat. They say it should be called Jason on a Boat. Whatever. Guess what? I like Jason on a Boat. I think it's good. Just like how Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is a great movie, hampered by the fact that it's called Halloween and doesn't have Michael Myers in it. If Jason Takes Manhattan was called Jason on a Boat, I think people would like it more. It's nowhere near as good as Halloween 3, don't get me wrong. It's a fun movie. It's goofy. It comes right in the middle of the Kane Hodder era of these films, and it's over the top and fun and silly in a way that I really appreciate, and it just goes for it, man. It's this neon-drenched, absolutely batshit insane movie. It feels like it's this excessive late 80s riff on the Last Voyage of the Demeter section of Dracula, but this feels like that, like cranked up to the nth degree for that generation, and it all culminates with Jason getting to New York, having that incredible sequence in Times Square, and then he gets turned into sludge because Manhattan is disgusting and filthy at the end. I love that. Jason Takes Manhattan is number 4 on the list, and it earned its spot. At number 3, we have 1984's Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter, directed by Joseph Zito.
3 times before, you have felt the terror.
Was it the final chapter? No. Is it the only film in this franchise with the word final in the title? Also no, but it is a really fun ride.
Is the one you've been screaming for. Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
It's like a quintessential 1980s American slasher film. It's the franchise really growing into this elevated kind of bombastic place for the first time. It obviously goes much further in later sequels, but here it's kind of that perfect blend of the early Fridays formula with where they were going down the line. Crispin Glover is amazing in it, obviously. It has like nudie reels from the 1920s, but it also has these like artistic flourishes, like Zito keeping the camera back and doing some of the kills in just solely silhouette. It's really fun, and Tom Savini's effects at the end when Jason gets his head cleaved open by little Corey, just amazing. Really good stuff. Big fan of this one. At number 2, we have, fittingly,
I don't want to scare anyone, but I'm going to give it to you straight about Jason.
Friday the 13th Part 2, directed by Steve Miner. Now, this is maybe not as controversial opinion as some of the other ones on this list, but it's worth defending, because I think a lot of people here, you like the second one better than the first one and think you're kind of crazy, but this is really where the franchise becomes the franchise. The first film is all about Jason's mom. It's a pretty blatant riff on Halloween, Psycho, and this is really where Steve Miner comes in and sees the foundations that have been laid by Cunningham and decides to build something on top of it. Is it a pretty formulaic 1980s slasher? For sure, but it's also like really actively contributing to that conversation in interesting ways. I think Miner does a really good job of milking it for suspense. The opening set piece is a really fantastic example of that, as he has the final girl from the first film walking around her new home, and the camera is tracking her for a lot of it, and it's generating this really effective feeling of dread and suspense. There's so many moments throughout the film that do really similar cinematic techniques to incredible effect.
Out there, Jason. Some sort of demented creature.
If I was you, I'd have located in the next county. Quiet for 5 years, and that's the way we want to keep it.
Who could forget the iconic machete to the face that the poor gentleman in the wheelchair gets? There's so much good stuff here. I love the Jason design. It's very like Hills Have Eyes, redneck meets the town that dreaded sundown.
A revenge that he'll continue to seek if anyone ever enters his wilderness again.
But it's really effective and a great look for Jason that we don't really get to see again after this, so treasure it. Treasure Jason in overalls while you have it, gosh darn it, or you'll never be happy again. I think it's really obvious why they asked Steve Miner to come back for Part 3. I think it's disappointing that Part 3 is kind of narratively very lame. I like Part 3 for its very hokey 3D effects and the kind of cinema of attraction elements. But it's not a good movie. Which brings us to number 1. What is the greatest Friday the 13th film of all time? It is 1986's Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, directed by Tom McLaughlin. Jason Lives is just on another level. It's maybe one of the greatest like midnight movies ever made. It's where the franchise veers completely into lunacy, and I think Tom McLaughlin is the perfect guy to do it. I wish that the franchise had like sought to maintain the tone that he sets here for a few more installments, because that would have just been heaven. But Jason Lives is incredible. It opens with this overt embracing of the kind of gothic theatricality of these films and how absurd the whole thing has gotten. Returning character Tommy Jarvis going to Jason's grave, stabbing him with a metal pole, and lightning comes down, strikes the pole, brings Jason back to life in true blue Frankenstein style. He's now this unstoppable zombie serial killer. And then the opening credits are like a parody of James Bond's opening credits with Jason slashing at the camera. that really sets the table for the entire feast that is to come. It's the only film in the franchise to feature the camp being open and Jason on the run there. It's got an incredible third act where it's Tommy Jarvis versus Jason. I think Jason Lives is just like the greatest encapsulation of what I love about Friday the 13th films and what makes them really special in this kind of wider subgenre field of the slasher movies. So yeah, those are the top 5 Friday the 13th films according to me and the experts that we have here. Our team of experts, yes, yeah, they're telling me that I was right, that these are the top 5 Friday the 13th films. Even Jason Takes Manhattan. So if you disagree, feel free to chime up in the comments below, but I'm not going to read them. One of my favorite things about the Friday the 13th franchise at large is this kind of focus on the mythos of it and the campfire story elements at play. There's several sequences across all of the films where characters will sit around a campfire telling the story of Jason Voorhees, retelling it and retelling it and retelling it over the decades.
Legend has it that Jason saw his mother beheaded and he took his revenge.
And I love the idea that that's what this franchise is that, you know, there's all these continuity kind of things going on where people will point to and be like, well, that doesn't make any sense, you know, none of that shit matters. If you're looking for stuff like that, you're not living your life right. So watch Friday the 13th films and enjoy them, and just take each film as its own little fable told around the campfire with a full moon and with some crazy old man riding by on his bicycle telling you to get the fuck out of Dodge. But Friday the 13th, a very fun franchise. I can't help but return to it every time a Friday the 13th rolls around. Watch as many of them as you can and tell me what your top 5 are. This has been Will for Ratings Games Music Show. Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope to see you again next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, all those fun things. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time.
Place your bet.